What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, the Kamala Harris campaign and the mainstream narrative machine is getting themselves into a whole hell of a lot of trouble this election cycle. We've already covered two articles where Donald Trump is suing CBS, Donald Trump is suing the Washington Post for election interference, as a matter of fact. And as we covered in those stories, good luck on that, buddy. I don't think he's going to win on that, but it proves a point. And it shows the blatant hypocrisy in coverage of specific candidates. That is right. Check this out, y'all. Kamala Harris' SNL appearance may have violated FCC equal time rule, Trump-appointed commissioner claims. And if this was done on purpose, which it probably was, and is insane, yeah, they just violated a big rule. Let's get into it, though. Kamala Harris's surprise appearance on NBC's Saturday Night Live on November 2nd was a clear and blatant effort to evade the FCC's equal time rule, Republican Commissioner Brendan Carr claimed in a social media post. Claimed. No, he didn't claim that. That is in the rules. He posted the rule from the statute, for crying out loud. Harris appeared in the SNL Cold Open sketch as herself, interacting on stage with Maya Rudolph, who has portrayed the Democratic VP and presidential candidate on the show. In the skit, Harris poked fun at Donald Trump and said the election represents an opportunity to end the dramala, which, I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but yeah, that clip is cringe as hell, and we're gonna go through it, but let's keep going. The FCC's rules on political programming seek to ensure that no legally qualified candidate for office is unfairly given less access to the airwaves outside of bona fide news exemptions than their opponent, according to the agency. Equal opportunities generally means providing comparable time and placement to opposing candidates, but does not require a station to provide opposing candidates with programs identical to the initiating candidate. In a post on X on Saturday evening before Harris's SNL appearance, Carr, who is a Trump appointee, once again, they're having to point out the obvious here, like, they've got to be appointed by somebody, right? And once again, I don't know why they always put, oh, it's a Trump appointee, but not an Obama appointee or a Biden appointee or a Bush appointee. It's always just Trump appointees, which is absurd. The purpose of the rule is to avoid exactly this type of biased and partisan conduct, a licensed broadcaster using the public airwaves to exert its influence for one candidate on the eve of an election, unless the broadcaster offered equal time to the other qualifying campaigns. The FCC's rule requires a broadcaster in the event of an appearance by a legally qualified candidate to entertain requests for equal opportunities by opposing legally qualified candidates for the same office. However, the station is not required to seek out opposing legally qualified candidates and offer them equal opportunities. So what I'm gaining from that is basically that if you offer one candidate, you know, X amount of time on a show, you have to offer it to the other one. But if they don't request it, then you're not breaking the rules here. If they deny it, turn it down, or whatever, it doesn't break the rules as long as the offer was in place. It's not known whether Saturday Night Live extended an offer to Trump's campaign for him to appear on the show. An NBC spokesperson declined to comment. Reps for the FCC and the Trump campaign did not respond to requests for comments on Sunday. Trump has not appeared on Saturday Night Live this season, which is celebrating its 50th season. He has hosted the show twice, once in 2004 and once when he was presidential candidate in 2015. In the setup for Harris's SNL cameo, Rudolph said, "This is it. The last campaign stop in Pennsylvania. Gosh, I wish I could talk to someone who's been in my shoes, you know. A black South Asian woman running for president, preferably from the Bay Area." Through that, y'all. I'm sorry. I know that was like really cringe inducing, but I had to give you the context. That's my job, y'all. That is my job. Now, what's interesting about this is it might not seem to violate any rules right here. Like, we don't know if that was extended to Donald Trump, right? But what's funny about this appearance is, check this out. Let's get into this. This is also from Brendan Carr. Just weeks ago, SNL's Lorne Michaels said they would not be bringing any of the candidates on on due to election and equal time laws. You can't bring the actual people who are running on because of election laws and the equal time provisions, Michael said. And here we go. There's a Fox News article. SNL head insists there will be no Trump or Harris cameos this season, cites equal time provisions. Now, that is, that's funny. That is very funny because that was just from, like it said, a couple of weeks ago. So what is interesting about this, and my whole point to this, and how I see they're getting themselves into a whole hell of a lot of trouble here, now that Kamala Harris has appeared, right, we're pretty sure from that there was no offer extended to Donald Trump. There is not going to be a Saturday Night Live before the election. So, with that information, they didn't give Trump the opportunity to show up. So they're not giving Trump the equal opportunity they're supposed to be. So it appears they just violated the FCC rules. Once again, getting themselves into a whole host of issues with the mainstream news being biased for Harris, being biased in that direction and not giving Donald Trump, not platforming Donald Trump. This is just getting outright absurd, y'all. This election cycle has shown, like we thought it was bad with the 2020 election cycle, the Hunter Biden laptop story, suppressing voices online. Maybe we thought, okay, maybe it was just COVID, had these people all wired crazy or something like that. But no, this shows an even worse bias. It shows their desperation. It shows these people don't care about rules. They don't care about laws. We've covered story after story after story after story of the Biden administration violating federal laws to suit their own needs. It's been outright absurd. From the border to stopping weapons shipments to Israel, for crying out loud, sending your tax dollars to Ukraine. It's just been outright insane what the Biden administration has done, denying oversight, right? Steve Bannon just got out of jail for doing the exact same thing that Merrick Garland did, and Merrick Garland's not a care in the world about this, y'all. They've even gone to the extent where the House has brought up articles of impeachment on Merrick Garland, brought up inherent contempt, which is extenuation of contempt of Congress, which if nothing happens, right, like if they vote for contempt of Congress and nothing happens, they have tools in their arsenal to compel the DOJ to go after this person. It's just getting outright absurd that they would have to go to that length to come after these people because they don't care about the law. They'll get out there and tell you when it comes to Donald Trump, nobody is above the law. Even though they have to make up charges to go after Donald Trump, they have to twist the law around and pervert our judiciary system to go after Donald Trump. But when you have a clear violation, blatant violation of federal law against a Democrat, against Merrick Garland, when you just put somebody in jail for the almost identical, the situation was almost identical with Steve Bannon as it was to Merrick Garland, withholding pertinent information that oversight from Congress wanted. Steve Bannon goes to jail, Merrick Garland does not. This is absurd. And you know what their excuse is? Well, he's a sitting cabinet member. Well, I don't think that matters, does it? Nobody's supposed to be above the law. This is getting absurd. Plus, Steve Bannon was an advisor to Donald Trump, as a matter of fact. He was in the administration. Wasn't necessarily a cabinet member, but do you think that really matters? I thought nobody was supposed to be above the law. This is absurd. Once again, the Democrats just don't care about law and order. Look at Alejandro Mayorkas. He was impeached on 2 charges, for crying out loud. And the Senate has refused to take up the impeachment. They just refuse to hold the trial, which is pretty much what it is, in case you don't know. Impeachment is kind of like an indictment. And when it goes to the Senate, that's kind of like your jury trial, in other words. That's pretty much what that is. And they refuse to look it up. They refused to take it up. I'm sorry, not look it up. They refused to take it up and put it on the floor for a vote, even though they've got the majority and they know that they would acquit Alejandro Mayorkas. They know that, but they don't care. They don't care about law and order. Jamie Raskin has come out and said, it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. We're going to not certify the electors come January 6, 2025, if Trump wins. And then he starts talking about we need to prepare for civil war conditions. Check this out.
But the court is not going to save us. And so that means the only thing that really works is people in motion amending the Constitution. But again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient, because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And
yeah, that's absurd, if you ask me. These people have become so deranged with Donald Trump that they don't care about rules, they don't care about laws, they don't care about traditions in this country. They want to pervert this country into something unrecognizable. And we need to vote with our feet, vote in this election to try to stop this. And the only way to do that is to not vote for Kamala Harris. Right? I can't tell you who to vote for, and you guys are going to vote for who you want to vote for. I mean, you can still vote for RFK Jr. if you want to, but that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, Cornel West is still on the ballot. Jill Stein is still on the ballot, and there's several other people. I just don't know their names. They're nobodies. But voting for anybody outside of Trump or Harris is just a protest vote at this point. And it really wouldn't matter, but, this is a clear violation of the FCC rules. NBC and CBS and the Washington Post have shown their bias. And I really hope videos like this can spread out to the American people and people can see this. So I would ask you guys to share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. It's getting outright absurd what they're doing. And I don't know how much I can stress this point. When you look at everything that's going on in the background, behind the scenes, that is not covered by the mainstream news, that you're probably not going to know about. Stuff that I cover on this channel. I've got a litany of videos, an extensive archive of just crap that the Biden administration has committed against this country and has gotten away with. Look at student loan forgiveness, for goodness sakes. It's just getting crazy. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And I don't know how much more this we can take. I don't know if another 4 years of this, the United States would be as recognizable as it is now from what it was 4 years ago. In 8 years from 4 years ago. I know I said that kind of confusing, convoluted way, but you get my point, right? I hope that was kind of clear, but I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I need y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Am I just being biased and not seeing it for what it is? Am I pushing my own biases on top of this, or is this, not that big of a deal? And it's just SNL. Who cares? Who cares about the rules? Right? When it comes to FCC and elections. I mean, does this really matter? Well, what I'm getting at, is this going to have an impact, do you think, on anything? It doesn't matter. Or does this violate standards and traditions in this country that we need to uphold? Because, by God, if you don't have traditions, what do you have? But I think I've rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.